So look, everybody's talking about AI, and why shouldn't they? This is an incredible technology. But most of what I see is complete garbage. It's people pasting into ChatGPT, getting an answer that sounds confident, and basically treating it like gospel. And that's just not how this works, at least not if you're using your real hard-earned money to make decisions with that. Now, I run a multifamily investment firm, and we deploy investor capital into workforce housing and private credit and multifamily assets. And yes, we use AI, but probably not in the way that you would think. And so today, I'm gonna show you exactly how we're using it today and what we refuse to let it do, which is arguably even more important, and why that discipline around AI matters probably more than the technology itself. So let's get into it. Before I show you a single tool, let me tell you what is off limits, because I think we put so little emphasis on putting the actual guardrails around what not to get from AI, as opposed to just asking it to go do something from us. Do you see what I mean? So the restraint is actually the missing link to using AI effectively. And that's something that I've really been working hard on in my practice. But rule number one that I always follow when using AI is AI does not make investment decisions. It can inform them, it can challenge them, but a human being with real capital on the line makes every call without exception. AI is great for challenging assumptions, but it should not be used as the driver of the critical thinking. That is your role. That is my role when using this technology. Rule number two for us, we don't trust any AI output that we cannot independently verify. We all know that AI has a tendency to hallucinate. And if it tells me that rent growth is 4% in a submarket, I go and then check CoStar. I call up or reach out to local brokers. I pull census data. I really want to actually verify that this is a real number that we're banking on, because this matters a lot. AI is a starting point, but it's not the finish line. Now, rule number three, this is really important, by the way. Garbage in, garbage out. This is the one that people don't want to hear, but the quality of what AI gives you is directly tied to the quality of what you give it. And if you're not getting great answers, then you're not asking great questions. And we spend more time probably building the right questions than we do actually reading the answer to that questions. Now, rule number four I like to follow is know your own criteria before you even touch any tool. See, a good deal could be completely the wrong deal for you, right? And if you don't know what you're looking for, AI is going to happily find something that looks great on paper and has nothing to do with your personal risk tolerance, your goals, your preferences. I mean, look, I can't say this enough, but you are the driver of the car. AI is the engine behind it. And if you are just letting it go and figure out where to drive you to, it's never going to get you to the place that you actually want to go. So really consider that, because that's a really important point. Now, rule number five, or the last one I'll share here, AI does not replace relationships, and relationships are what get deals done. So we don't use AI to generate like cold outreach or fake rapport. We use it to prepare for real conversations with real people. It's a really important point here that AI may never replace. Now, here's something that a lot of people do not talk about. We have hard investment guardrails that exist before AI ever gets involved, and you should too. The list of what we don't do with this is at least as long as what we will do with it, and that's very, very intentional. And the most valuable thing that AI does for us of all of the use cases is help us say no a bunch more times than we could have otherwise done ourselves. This is so key. AI is not our thought partner to say yes. It's our thought partner to basically filter out the 99.9% of deals that do not work quickly. So we screen hundreds of opportunities and a vast majority don't clear the rails of what we're looking for. AI is the filter so that we spend our time on the deals that are actually the ones that deserve our attention. This is possibly the highest use case that we have currently at Ocean Ridge Capital. Okay, so let me go into the actual workflows because I know that this can be challenging for people to actually see how an operator, how an investor could be using AI outside of, some of the chat features, right? And I'll show you 3 things that we run every week. Now, keep in mind, today is April the 16th. This may be out of date next week or next month, but I'm doing my best to show you where we are today and how we're using the technology, both for chat features and for agentic stuff. And I'll get into what that is. So first one that I love and everybody who runs a business or has anything to do with anybody should be doing today, which is pre-meeting intelligence. Now, before every meeting with any operator, any broker, any partner, any investor, I get a briefing in my inbox. This is a daily search that shows up in my inbox, and it's basically a structured report for everything from who we're gonna meet to their background, to the sort of understanding of what they might be focused on. But then it goes further than that because this AI agent runs daily and it checks our calendar. It actually monitors my calendar, my emails to create the most context for that daily roll up to build the background brief. And not only does it give the background, it knows my business goals. It knows my buy box. It knows what I'm working on. And it actually helps to guide some of our questions based on what it identifies in the background report. I cannot tell you how valuable this is because for me, if I have a 20-minute call, I can get on with let's say the operator, and maybe it's a mobile home operator in the Midwest that does funds and single deal syndications. And immediately this will say, hey, they have, locations in 13 places. And I go, I need to understand the operations. I need to understand how are they vertically integrated? Are they working with third party? What are their regional perspectives? That's a very different conversation than a group that maybe has 15 mobile home parks all in greater Nashville where they might have the same footprint, right? And that's just one small example. There are so many ways that having intelligence and having the guidance is saving me, tens of hours a week to prepare and have better conversations so that I can do the diligence work and serve my investors best. Second workflow, market monitoring. Now, we have a very specific buy box, and I really like workforce housing markets that are growing. They're landlord friendly. They're not overbuilt. I've done tons of videos on what our criteria is, but I'm looking for markets that are alive, but they're actually more tertiary. They tend to not be traded as much, and I want to know every movement that's happening there. I want to see the deals trading. I want to see the permits that are getting filed. I want to see how rents are shifting, what employment activity is. So we have agents that target and monitor our target markets and the markets where we actually own properties. And they're looking at things like sales and rent comps, rental trends, employment data. It does a regular roll-up, and it basically surfaces what is changing. Again, this is like a sort of a dynamic process. It's not one and done, here's the market. I want to know what's trending in the market because I want to know if I want to double down over there. I want to know if actually I should look at selling in there because I don't like where things are going, or making sure that we're adapting to the changes in that market. This is a really powerful agent to use. And again, we're using these things on Claude right now. I would say that is likely the winning platform today. 3 or 6 months from now, it could be totally different, but this is the one that I'm finding is most reliable for us. So, when you're in my seat, speed matters for amplifying the value of money. Speed matters in deal flow. And the sponsor who is responsive, the investor who's responsive, tends to be the one that wins in my industry. So this is helping us to really cut the gap of market intelligence to making decisions quickly on the best possible deals. Now, third workflow, and this one is a pretty big deal. It's also kind of a contested one, maybe a little controversial, but that is deal diligence. Now, this is where people start and stop with AI. They can paste a pro forma and say, is this a good deal? And it's like asking a doctor, like, am I healthy? Without giving him your medical history, your conditions, your lifestyle factors. You might get a confident answer, but it could be completely useless, right? So here's how we actually do this in Claude using chat and agent type functionality. So when we get a deal package, we'll build a structured diligence session. We'll be very specific on that property or on that fund, whatever we're looking at. And we upload every single thing we can. The full offering memorandum, rent rolls, T12, market comps, PPM if we have one, anything we can on the sponsor. We'll have it do a deep dive on the sponsor, on the people involved. And we always will use the most capable model available. So in Claude right now, that is Opus 4.6, and then we'll do extended thinking. In GPT, there's also an extended thinking on the highest model. I would highly recommend this is where you want to use that. And when real money is on the line, you can't mess around. This does not replace reading the deal for yourself. If you get one thing out of this video, that is what I want you to get. But you need to understand the numbers. You need to talk to the operator. In my shoes, we tend to visit the properties, we verify data, but AI will catch things that humans miss, especially when you've looked at 15 pro formas this week and you're starting to blur them all together. And it doesn't get anchored to the sponsor's narrative, especially if you train it to be very skeptical like we have. So the principle is to have AI challenge your thesis and not conform to it. Also, just to throw a little additional context here, quick framework. If you're newer to basically the modes of using AI, there are really two forms that we work with. One is chat type features. That's what a lot of people look at when they're talking about AI and using ChatGPT or Claude. They're talking about using the chat feature. I write something almost like a Google query, it spits something back at me. Now, the other side of AI right now that is more emerging, but I think it's more powerful in the long run, is AI agents. Now, we've heard a lot about these. But basically an AI agent is like hiring a junior analyst to do recurring work on autopilot. It's probably the best way to put it. Think about it, an agent is somebody that you give autonomy to go act on your behalf, right? That's kind of what the AI is doing in this case. So again, the simple test here, do you do it once and think deeply? That's probably a chat functionality. Do you do it repeatedly and without babysitting? That's much more of like an agent type functionality. So here's the bottom line. AI does not make us smarter. Do not outsource your critical thinking to AI, but it makes us faster at being more thorough. We move quicker when something real surfaces, but this does not replace human judgment, verified data, or real relationships. We have to underscore that. And if you're investing in anything, whether it's stocks, bonds, real estate, crypto, and you are not using these tools to sharpen your process, you are leaving an edge on the table. And if you are evaluating sponsors or fund managers or different investments, ask them what their process looks like. Ask them, how are they sourcing deals? How do they diligence? How do they monitor markets? If the answer sounds like something that comes from 2015, it does tell you something. And my industry, especially real estate, is slow to move. So you really want to be backing people that have an edge and that know how to use technology without outsourcing their critical judgment, right? So if you feel like this gives you some value and changes how you think about your process, hit the subscribe button. I talk about this kind of stuff every week, real decisions using real technology to make us better investors.